Hello everybody and welcome back to another video for the day. We're going back into r/entitled people because unfortunately entitledness just happens to be ingrained in society and it ain't going away anytime soon, even though I very wish it did. If you guys want it to be absolutely amazing, you know what to do. Hit the stuff, leave a comment, leg up. A couple took our Insta-worthy hot chocolate by mistake. I, now 42, live in Copenhagen, but the rest of my family does not, so my sisters like to come and visit a few days every now and then to hang out and enjoy some of the sightseeing and good food. This happened in early December of 2019, so before 2020, which means a lot of people everywhere and no restrictions of any kind. My little sister, now 38, was here for a Christmas visit in December, and we were enjoying the lights and sights and some lovely Christmassy delights. It was a cold day, and we decided that we would just visit a smallish cafe that makes really tasty and very beautiful things all in chocolate, and some of their seasonal hot chocolate, which was kinda pricey, but well worth the price tag. It was a salt caramel and clementine hot chocolate, lavishly decorated, by the way. You could get 2 to 3 kinds of pretty but regular hot chocolates too. But this was one of their Instagram hot chocolate, if you know what I mean. My sister finds us a table, and I get in line to order 2 of the chocolate wonders. There's a bit of a queue, but it moves along fairly quickly. I get to the counter, order, and the chocolate goddess at the counter asks me my very feminine name to call me when my order is up, and informs me that it will be about 10 minutes. I go sit down and wait with my sister at the other end of the cafe, but very much still within hearing distance. So, just about 10 minutes later, a male half of the couple orders and goes to sit down with his girlfriend, 2 tables away from the counter. At the same time, my name is called. Now, I cannot see their table as it is behind me, but my sister told me later that the girlfriend pointed at our chocolates immediately, and the man more or less sprinted up to get them when this woman who made the hot heavenly drinks has her back turned. I walk up there, and my drinks are of course gone. One of the chocolate goddesses comes over to the next order and calls a name. I asked where the order for my name is, and she said that when she looked over her shoulder to check, she assumed that I had gotten them because they were gone. A chocolate god interjected that he saw a man take my order and point to the table with the thieving couple, who were busy taking lots and lots of photos of the drinks. The goddess went over with me in tow and asked what they had ordered. They had ordered regular hot chocolates, but the girlfriend had wanted these. When she saw them in all of their glory, just sitting on the counter with no one to claim them for at least 5 minutes. And so she thought that it didn't matter if they took them instead. They were unclaimed for 5 friggin' seconds, lady. The goddess explained that the drinks were not theirs and to wait for their order. "No, they are ours now," the girlfriend claimed, and pulled the fingers keeper card, all while looking triumphantly at me. The goddess asked the guy which name he gave at the counter, and he claimed he gave the same as my name, hence the mix-up, so I asked him what name was called. Surprise, surprise, he could not answer. Now the girlfriend was getting upset and sat there saying, "No, no, no," over and over again, while the guy asked if I could not just order new ones, since clearly they had made a mistake and the drinks were already on their table. Why? So you can steal those too? The goddess asked if I wanted those specific 2 drinks, or could she simply make some new ones. I asked if the couple would be allowed to keep the mouth-watering morsels of goodness if I wanted new ones, and she said yes. Well, then of course I wanted those specific drinks, and now girlfriend was visibly crying. The goddess took the drinks away and gave them to me. As we were walking away, I inspected the drinks and told her she better pour these away and make new ones because 1, they were now cold, and 2, there were tears in one of them, and though I enjoyed salted caramel, the level of salt was a bit much. She grinned and took them away and made me new ones that were served at the table. My sister and I agreed that these are the best hot chocolates that we ever had. We enjoyed them loudly while the thieving couple stared daggers at us.
But it was there for a whole 5 freaking minutes.
Yeah, it can be there for 15 minutes. That don't give you the right to steal other people's shit. Unfortunately, I've had something similar happen on unfortunately a rather frequent basis where people don't really get the idea of how long a minute is and thinks that, oh, just because of this or some other reason, I've been waiting for about 20 minutes, which is absolute dog water and absolute bulldookie. Also, way to go, trying to make a sprint to steal other people's stuff and then saying that it's been there for a while. Yeah, no, none of what you did actually stood up for anything you were saying. It doesn't justify any of it whatsoever. And honestly, if anything, this just makes me want to get hot chocolate now. You know, there's stuff with the little marshmallows and shit. Yeah, I don't care what you are. You can't park in my spot. I'm a paramedic in a place that has some HOAs and apartment complexes. We hate responding to the apartment complexes because there is nothing but assigned parking and no fire zones. Basically, if we can't find a place to fit in, we have to block the road. My agency also uses first responder vehicles and ambulances. The first responder, as implied, usually drives first, so we do our best to leave room for the ambulances to fit in. We get a call to the apartment complex I am in, the first responder. As I pull up to the address, by some miracle, there is a spot only 2 apartments away. Great, I can leave the road clear for the ambulance. As soon as I park out, comes a guy screaming that I can't park there. I do the "are you serious" look and just say medical emergency. He says he doesn't care and that I can't park there. Keep in mind, my vehicle has enough lights to make a Christmas tree jealous. I just grab my stuff, lock the vehicle, and keep going. He is screaming that he is going to call the cops. I tell them that they are already on the way. They respond to medical emergencies. The cops get there while I am with the patient and tells him basically to pound salt. The cop enters the apartment, and then this guy goes full-blown entitled. He enters the apartment, comes into the room where I am treating the patient, and he starts ranting and raving about how I have to move my vehicle. I look at the cop and says, "Get him out of here." The cop then seals his fate. She asks the patient if she wants this person removed from the apartment, and did she ever give consent for him to enter. The patient's response is, "Get him the frick out of here, he's trespassing." Boom, all in the clear. The cop gives him one last chance and tells him to leave, or he will be arrested. He doubles down. "I am on the HOA board, and I can go where I please." At this point, backup is called. The cop at least manhandles him out of the room. The ambulance arrives with PD backup, and they get him out of the apartment so we can safely remove the patient. Not entirely sure what happened next, as I was in the back of the ambulance, but when I got out, one of the officers approaches and says, "Sorry, but we need another bus. We had to tase him." Policy for PD is if they tase somebody, they have to be transported to the hospital by ambulance, so the hospital as a taser spike have to be surgically removed due to the barbs in them. Waiting for the second ambulance they take him, I go back into service. I found out weeks later that he was charged with trespassing, attacking an officer, resisting arrest, interference with government administration, aka interfering with the scene of an emergency, all over a parking space that I would have been in for all of 20 minutes had he had not created the problems. I can only assume that he took the plea deal, as I was never called to testify. TLDR entitled HOA board member goes nuts because an emergency vehicle took his parking space for an emergency and ends up going to the hospital and jail. The more I see stories like this, the more I always keep on thinking that outside of the HOA cutting your grass, really I just always see it as like something to give Karen and Kens and basically anybody in pension payments something to do because they're that bored with their life. Really, you're gonna give somebody a fine because their mailbox is slightly tilted. And I've even seen some instances where people will be sending letters saying, we are going to fine you because your car brings down the value of the neighborhood. Seriously, name somebody in an HOA that is under the age of 62 that does this. How entitled do you have to be in order to, well, all over a parking space, attack an officer, disrupt a place where somebody is trying to not die, and thinking that you're still right at the end of the day? Hopefully that taser was able to send enough electricity to your brain to give you a cognitive thought process, because I know for a fact that it wasn't getting enough voltage beforehand. Never says that I was trying to cheat him out of my TV. I am having a house built, but bought a TV during Amazon's Prime days. I had it sent to my grandparents' house to be stored until the house is done. The package never arrived, and after a couple of days, the picture from the delivery was on the FedEx site. I sent it to my grandfather, who recognizes it as his neighbor. He calls the neighbor, who claims that he ordered the exact same TV and didn't realize he opened mine. I did not ask him to contact the neighbor. The neighbor says his is coming in the following week, and he will give me his, as it is the same exact TV. A few hours later, he says, I called Amazon, who said for me to keep this TV and for you to call them so that they can replace it. I tell them that my refund/replacement has already been denied multiple times, and that I was told to contact local authorities/law enforcement, but I would call again. The next morning, I call Amazon, who tells me that my claim was denied again, and that I should still try to get my TV back since I know where it is. I call the neighbor, who is now saying that he has to send my TV back when he gets his in. I tell him not to, and that I want my TV, even if it is open. He's an old dude, so I was using yes sir and no sir. I was trying to be polite, as he has my expensive TV. He hangs up and sends me a long text about how he has my TV and won't be giving it back, and I just say, to verify, you're refusing to give me my TV. He calls me back and says, you stop harassing him. So I drive over to my grandfather's house. He is out of town, and call the cops. After some back and forth phone calls with the cops calling me and the neighbor, they come out, and 4 cops showed up because the dude said I am committing fraud and cheating him out of a TV. After I showed the cops the text where he says he has my TV, pictures of the box he sent with my name on it, and where my refund was denied, they went to talk to him. He changed his story for the 5th time to say that I already got a refund and that I am trying to fraud Amazon. End of the day, I got my TV back, and my neighbor calls my grandfather. Grandfather calls me saying that I discredited him, he meant defamation, and that he says that I called the cops on his neighbor and cheated him out of a TV. The neighbor is claiming that he won't get his package now because he was supposed to keep mine. The old dude was so entitled that he thought he had the right to my TV. I don't even think he ordered one in the first place. Edit, for those of you who are curious, the cops were only able to get it back because of our state laws. In most states, they are required to give the package back if the person has the address to contact them. The you can keep misdelivering packages only applies if it was addressed to you in the first place. I'm sorry, did old geezer here really think he could get away with stealing a TV just because, oh yeah, it got delivered to the This is the same thing with the coffee again, but really people out here thinking that, oh yeah, I can just take this just because nobody has gotten to take it within the first second that it got dropped off at the house. What the shit? Too racist to enjoy a tropical island and ends up paying the price. I've been struggling to find a proper subreddit for this, so if there's a better one, let me know. I was just reminiscing about the absurdity of this situation that happened almost 2 years ago, and I've decided it's too good not to be shared. To be honest, it involves a lot of legal stuff, and I'm not sure I'm talking about 100% correctly, but I can assure you this story is true, as is the end result. This might be a long one, so buckle up. For context, my mom is a traveling healthcare worker, not a nurse nor a doctor, just to clarify. And we were from the US. Usually her contacts last from 8 weeks to 9 months, and she's worked all around the States. This results in an ungodly amount of airline miles that she likes to gift me so I can visit her wherever she is on contract. I get a nice vacation, she gets to see me, I get to see her, win-win-win. 2 years ago, after I graduated and was living at my mom and her long-term boyfriend's house in a virus lockdown-induced depression and existential crisis, my mother scored her first overseas contract on a tropical island for 6 months, from June to the end of November. I had gotten a bad job in my hometown to start saving for whatever my next step was. 3 months in, my mom realized the downside to being on a very small island where international travel to and fro was a pain in the butt. She was lonely. This prompted a very bashful phone call in which she asked me if I wanted to take a break from working and come stay with her for a while. I jumped at the opportunity, and we made arrangements to get my passport renewed and booked a ticket for me to stay with her for the last few months of her contract. All of this context comes to the main character, another US-based traveler, also not a nurse nor a doctor, who was my mother's coworker. Let's call her Mary. Mary, to put it bluntly, was racist as heck, and she was not enjoying getting paid to work on an island with crystal blue water on white sand beaches. Why? Because she failed to realize that she wouldn't be treating elite white resort goers. No, it turns out that the people who tend to be treated on the local hospital were the native islanders. You know, people of color. She was also a virus denier, Trumper, and anti-vaxxer. She really is just a blast to talk to. She was so livid about having to go to a grocery shop surrounded by POC. Not what she called them. Hint, it starts with N and ends with R. It didn't matter that she could go to the beach every day after work and was lodged at a multi-million-dollar vacation home on one of the highest points of the island with a gorgeous view. Nah, she was so busy recoiling at the sight of, melanin. So yeah, she hated being there and wanted nothing more than to leave. She latched onto my mother for company, and my mother reluctantly obliged her for the time due to aforementioned loneliness. The main conflict of the story comes when my mother's contract began to reach its end, while Mary still had a month to go. Mary fought tooth and nail to renegotiate an early end of her contract, but was denied. So what does she do? She just leaves, packs all of her stuff and departs to the US anyway. No biggie, right? She just doesn't get her remaining paychecks. Wrong. Here comes the beauty of contracts. See, the contract, she agreed to comp her lodging on the condition that she fulfilled her employment duties. Since she very clearly had no intention to, the contract was therefore voided and the compensation for her lodging was promptly redacted. She was now on the hook to pay back this country's health ministry for the several months of rent that they paid to house her in that gorgeous vacation home with a beautiful view. I'm not sure how much it would have been, but I'm guessing $1 million at the very least. Mary was now not only a crap employee in this country, but a literal fugitive. But she figured they could only arrest and charge her if she ever stepped foot back onto the soil, so she wasn't concerned. She was mostly right, but that wasn't the only thing this country's government could do. They proceeded to ring up the good old US government, notify them of the charges, and let them take it from there. They couldn't have her extradited, but they could ask the US to flag her passport until she paid them or faced charges. So the US government said, "Sure, buddy, we'll do it," and they did. Mary can't leave the US anymore. She can't even go to Canada. She tried to join her friends on vacation in Mexico, but wouldn't be allowed to cross the border. So, if you ever think that you screwed up a job really badly, just remember that at least you aren't an actual international criminal who can no longer leave the country. I'm not sure why her racist butt even wanted to go to Mexico. I heard there are a lot of Mexican people there. Yeah, she's gonna be in a little bit of a surprise when she finds out that Mexican people are, not white. And, God forbid you happen to go to an island and, they're not white. Really, the more you think about it, it's just the shade of your skin is the stupidest thing to get angry about. And it just goes to show that we are very much not evolving as a society. We are going right back to Ooga Booga. But with that is going to have to be it with the video. If you guys would like to be absolutely amazing, show your support, and see more videos like this one in the near future, be sure to hit that like button, leave a comment down below to start up the wholesome internet discussions, And if you guys have not already, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. I'll be sure to see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching, and bye-bye.